Did you know that the United States will import more than 10 million amaryllis bulbs this year, and that there are over 600 different varieties out there that plant breeders have created? Now, if you get one of these in their wax, you don't even need water to grow this. And in Greek, amaryllis means to sparkle. And it is true what they say, the size of the bulb matters. The bigger the bulb, the bigger the blooms. Come along with me today as we talk about amaryllis. So welcome everyone to Gardening TLC. I am Michelle, and today we are going to talk about these beautiful amaryllis bulbs, because now is the time when you want to get them in the pot so that they're blooming by Christmas. The longer you wait, the longer you delay your bloom. Now, typically in nature, these guys want to bloom in the spring and the summer, but we typically here in the United States sell them now. You can find them pretty much everywhere, and force them to bloom. And we want that beautiful winter flower, or we want it at Christmas. So I'm going to show you today how to get these beauties going in their pots. I love it when there's a little story that comes behind a plant, and amaryllis actually comes from a Greek legend. So amaryllis was a nymph, and this nymph fell hopelessly in love with a shepherd named Alteo. Alteo was not interested in amaryllis in any way, shape, or form. He was only interested in flowers. But on the advice of the Oracle Delphi, Amaryllis visited his cottage every day, pierced her heart so that a drop of blood would fall on the ground, and did this for 30 days. At the end of the 30 days, a beautiful red flower grew up, and Alteo came outside, fell in love with the flower, and fell in love with Amaryllis. And that's the story of the Greek legend. Now, do not try this at home. A great companion plant to amaryllis are paperwhites. I love to underplant them with my amaryllis bulb, and I like to deck my pot out so that I've got something really pretty to look at while I'm waiting for everything to grow up. Now, I did these about 3 weeks ago when I went to see my dad. Him and his wife made one, I made one, and this is how far it's gotten so far. My little amaryllis has got a little bitty start, just starting to peek out, but the paperwhites are starting to put on some growth. I love my little pot. I'm going to show you how I did it. So the first thing I created was a disc, and so this is a birch disc. A lot of times you can find these at garden centers, hobby stores, or if you have a log outside, it doesn't have to be birch. You can create the disc by just cutting them out of a log. So I have a lot of these outside. I like to use them because later when it's done in this amaryllis pot, I can use it somewhere else for decor in my house. So I like that. Now you can use a lot of different things to create your picture. You could print a picture of your family or your grandkids or your pet, whatever you like. You can create that picture. You can go to the internet and find a picture that you like on the internet and then print it and cut this out. You can use Christmas cards. They work really good too. And you can put the picture on one side and you could put one on the other side. It doesn't matter. You could do either one. Now, you could take the Christmas card and take like the little saying that's on the inside and put that on one side and maybe put the picture on the front side. So what I do is I basically just take the little disc and I put it over the top of whatever it is that I want to print. And I get my marker and I just basically draw a circle around where I want to cut this out. And I cut it just a little bit smaller than the actual picture itself. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut it out. And this is the easiest craft, I think, in the whole entire world. You can do this with your kids. You can do this on your own. You can make so many different kinds. The possibilities are endless with this. Now, the one thing I will say with this craft is it works better on cardstock than it does on regular paper. So if you can print on cardstock, it's actually going to work a little bit better. I find that when I use just regular old paper, it has a tendency to crease when I'm putting it on the disc. All right, so something like this, I've got my little circle here, and then I'm going to put that on my disc. You're going to use a product called Mod Podge. This is like a glue that dries clear. Super easy to use. I do a lot of crafts with this. So basically what I do is I go get a foam brush and I just dumped it in a bowl so it was easier. With the grain of the wood, you're just going to put a coating of this, let's make sure I say it right, Mod Podge onto the disc. Go all the way out to the edge. You're going to give it a pretty good coating. And this dries clear, so don't worry that right now it looks like, you know, a white glue glaze on there. That will all dry clear. All right, and it is easier to get in there if you go with the grain of the wood. And then at the end, I take my brush and I go all in one direction, so all my brush strokes are going in the same direction. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my little pitcher on here. So I center my pitcher and I get it on there, and then I take my glue and I just go around the whole pitcher again. And I go from the center out, and what I'm doing is I'm now gluing this onto the top of my disc. And again, I'm going to go at the end with my brush strokes, all going in one direction. Whether you go this way or you go straight up and down, it looks better when it dries if all the brush strokes are going in the same direction. So now while we're potting up our amaryllis, we're just going to set this to the side. I know it looks really milky right now, but this will dry clear, and we're just going to put it to the side. All right, it's done. That's it. Unless you want to put one on the back, and then you can do that too. The other thing you can do with these, if you can find smaller ones, you can drill a hole in the top. You could turn these into ornaments and put them on your tree. Yeah, there's your 3-minute craft, you guys. This is the paper white that I'm going to underplant with my amaryllis. I like to plant the two of these together. Sometimes I can time it just right and they're blooming together. Sometimes the paper whites will bloom first and then the amaryllis second. It just depends, because even though it'll tell you it takes this long for them to bloom, the amaryllis and the paper whites, the conditions are different in every house. Now, a paper white is a narcissus. For us, I can't grow this in the ground. It's only going to grow in the ground in zone 8 through 11. Here in zone 5, this would totally die from the winter cold. We grow this as an indoor blooming plant. So I can grow it in dirt. I can grow it on some rocks with water underneath. I can grow it in a tray of gravel. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's got kind of a blue-green foliage to it, and then these beautiful white flowers that come up over the top of it. This Ziva one gets about 15 inches high. They bloom for anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. So yeah, they also have a really nice fragrance. Oh, and just as a side note, if you are growing these in the ground, remember the grow point goes up, the roots go down, and these are deer resistant. I also like these as companion plants for the amaryllis because they have the same watering conditions. In a pot, they want to dry out in between waterings. Now, if you're growing them in the ground, in zone 8 through 11, you're just going to have to water them like a normal bulb and get more water on them. But in a pot, yeah, pretty easy to grow. Now, I have 2 different kinds of amaryllis that I'm going to use in my store that I pot up. One is a double dragon. This is a smaller bulb. This is a vibrant red, and it's absolutely gorgeous when you underplant it with the white paper whites. Oh, it is so pretty. So double dragon is the first one that I have, but I also have a jumbo. So here's the double dragon, and then here's the jumbo. This is a Minerva. Now the Minerva has a little bit of coral going on with it. Let me grab a picture. This is the jumbo amaryllis. This one is Minerva, and we are going to be growing this one as well. Both of them look so good with the paper whites. Oh my goodness, it is glorious when it's blooming. And so we are potting all of these up, one for me to take home, which is the one that I already did. But the others, I'm going to sell them in the store, and when they start blooming, they fly out of here. They're so gorgeous, and they smell awesome. If you want to grow an amaryllis, it requires 0 special skills, but I'm going to give you a few tips to help you get the most out of every bulb that you plant. Number 1, purchase the largest bulb you can find for lots of flowers. Look at these. Aren't they gorgeous? This is a regular size bulb, but it's a nice size one. This is the double dragon. This is going to produce anywhere from 2 to 4 flowers that come off of it, the stalk. This is a jumbo. It can produce anywhere from 4 to 6 flowers that come up off of it. The size of the bulb does matter. The bigger the bulb, the bigger the blooms. If you want to continue a show of amaryllis all winter long, choose different varieties because different ones open and flower at different times. That way you can extend the bloom through the whole winter. Also, stagger when you plant them. That way you'll have them blooming at different times, and you can literally stretch out your amaryllis blooming from Christmas all the way until spring. Make sure you select the right pot and make sure you use good potting soil. Amaryllis have long stems and they have big flowers. They can be anywhere from 16 to 20 inches high. Then if I'm also going to be putting in the narcissus in here, the paper whites, those are 15 inches tall. I want to make sure that they have plenty of stability when they're growing. So I want to choose a pot that's about 2 inches wider than the bulbs. Now, yeah, this pot right here is pretty wide, but remember, I'm planting a jumbo bulb in here and putting all of my paper whites around the outside edge. So I'm going to be very close to the edge when I'm done. Now, if you're going to plant multiple amaryllis in one pot, you want to snug them real close together. If you're only planting the amaryllis and nothing else, you want to choose a pot that's about 2 inches wider than the bulb that you're putting in the pot. They like to be all snugged up in there. The other thing is, whoa, I almost dropped that. Okay, the other thing is make sure that you use good soil. When we do this, we're gonna lightly moisten the soil. We can't squeeze water out of it, just enough that it is like almost seed starting, where it's just barely moist to kind of moisten up those roots a little bit. Then I'm gonna fill it half full of soil, and then I'm gonna snug my bulbs in there. So let's do that next. You can see that I have now planted 12 amaryllis bulbs. I did 6 of the double dragon and 6 of the Minerva. I surrounded each one with 6 paper white bulbs. Now, what I'm gonna do next is I'm going to water these with some warm water to settle the dirt in, and then I'm not gonna water them again until I start to see the top of the amaryllis grow. If I see the paper white start to grow, I might put a 1/4 cup of water on this. That's it, just like a 1/4 cup. They don't take a lot of water, and they don't like a lot of water. The other thing is, don't ever water the top of the bulb right here. They don't like that either. The first thing that you're gonna see emerge is you're gonna see a little grow bud start to grow up from the top. And when you buy it, it might already be there. So just know it can still take anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks for this to get going. But that's what you're gonna see first, and then the stalks and the stems will emerge after that. Now, it is a good idea to rotate your pot every couple days. That will help to keep your stem growing nice and straight. They want to grow in bright indirect light, and they like temperatures between 60 and 65 degrees. So if you have a room that has those conditions, that's what they like. I know someone's going to ask, how much water was that, Michelle? That was probably about a cup per container. Now remember, these are bigger pots because I'm using jumbo bulbs and I'm putting the paper whites in there. These are 11 inches across. So yeah, I used about a cup of water. As you can see, I've got about 1/3 of the bulb exposed. Now, I don't like the look of black dirt, and I'm selling these, so I need them to look good. But even if it was at my house, I still don't like the look of black dirt. So I am going to moss the tops of all of these so that it looks prettier. All mossed up and ready to be decorated. Now you could leave them just like this, but I think this is kind of boring, and I like mine to have a little something something. All right, let's look at the birch discs. Here are the birch discs. I think they turned out really good. I have a bunch of different ones that I did. Put one of these in each of the pots. I also have 2 baskets of shatterproof bulbs. I bought these at Hobby Lobby. They're really cheap. I just got a different combination of colors in red and green and white. And then I bought the bigger ones and the smaller ones. And I'll probably use 1 big one to 2 small ones, and I'm going to decorate with those. The other thing I did was I ran outside and I just looked at all the odds and ends that we have left that I can decorate with. So I found some, natural kaboo balls. I found some little berries, some sticks. I found an ornament that I can put in there. I also found pine cones, a snowman, a little gnome. There's a little raccoon, some poinsettias. So just a bunch of odd and end stuff that I can use to decorate up the pots to make them just be a little nicer while I'm waiting for everything to grow. decision that you have to make is whether or not to keep your bulb or to toss your bulb. Now, a lot of people are like, I can't toss it. But do you realize that this cost of this bulb is about the same amount as a grocery store bouquet of flowers? Most of them are going to run between, well, I've seen them as cheap as $5.99. But if you get a good one, they can run anywhere from $15 to $25. Yeah, the jumbos, around 25 bucks. But think about it. That's how much a bouquet of flowers costs, and you throw those away. Now, there is certainly nothing wrong with wanting to keep your bulb and try to get it to bloom again, but you'll wait a year for it to bloom again. Just know that. I think it's fun, though, sometimes to see if you can get it to do that. So basically what you're going to do is this. First thing you have to do is, as the flowers are fading and dying, you have to take those off and the stalk. So you cut it down to about 1 inch above the bulb. If you grew it in water, you got to put it in a pot. Make sure it has a drainage hole. Make sure there's enough room below for the roots. And again, that bulb has to be like 1/3 of the way out of the pot. And again, it wants to be snugged in there. Don't put it in a ginormous pot. It doesn't like that. Amaryllis is a bulb, and just like every other bulb, what'll happen is it'll throw off like 3 or 4, maybe 5 strappy leaves. And those leaves are soaking in the sun to re-energize the bulb. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna treat it like a house plant through the rest of the winter and into spring. You're gonna water it like normal. You're gonna make sure it gets good light because it's re-energizing. Once the danger of frost is over, you can take it outside. It wants good light, but not hot blazing sun. And what it's gonna do is it's just gonna keep charging and charging and charging for the rest of the summer. Don't forget to water it. As far as the watering goes, don't overwater it. They wanna be barely moist. They don't wanna be soggy and they don't wanna be wet. You can fertilize it once or twice a month. You're trying to keep those leaves lush and green so it energizes the bulb. That's what this is all about. Now it is time for the bulb to rest. It's late summer, early fall. You're gonna stop watering it. You're gonna take it to a cool, dry, dark place, and it's gonna rest. The basement, the garage, both of these are good places for that because it has to go through a 2 to 5 month period of just resting. The leaves will die away as it goes dormant, and you do not water it. All right, after that period of time, then you're gonna repot it, and the cycle of life starts all over again, and you'll get another amaryllis. Remember, you can have more than one, and you can plant them at different times and cycle them through the whole winter so that you've got a succession of blooms going on. So if this is something that you wanna try and you wanna keep your bulb, go for it. If not, toss it in the garbage and start again next year. Other things to know about amaryllis, well, jumbo bulbs take an extra year to get that size. That's why they're more expensive than regular size bulbs, but the show is well worth it. And again, it's about the same price as a bouquet of flowers from the grocery store. Most of the bulbs brought into the United States are from Holland, although they do come from other places as well. So if you want to grow an amaryllis this year and you want it to flower by Christmas, now is the time to get it in its pot and get it going. So you better get out there and find one. All right, let me show you my favorites and then you can vote for which one you like the best. This is my Santa and reindeer in the golf cart. I think this one is really cute. I just like that little ornament. I just think that this is so sweet. We did this one up with the Minerva. So this is the jumbo amaryllis. It's going to be really pretty. Now, as I start to see the paper whites peek through, then you just move your stuff around to different places and work it around. Eventually, you can take everything out of this, but while you're waiting, isn't that cute? This one's number 2. This one I did with 3 of the shatterless bulbs, a little pick of berries, a gnome, and 2 natural pine cones. There's a double dragon in here. I just think that the scenes are fun while you're waiting. Number 3 is the little snowman with the little forest house in the background. I used some really sparkly birch branches with glitter on them. I think it's really cute. And this one also is with the red dragon. So this one is really cute. I like it. Number 4, I did kind of natural. I did a little raccoon with some kaboo balls, a little berry sprig, and then some natural pine cones. I did not put a birch disc in this one. And then the last one, number 5, that I really like is the one with the deer. I love the little picture that I chose. I like the little deer, the gold snowflakes, the gold pine cones, the little gold glass balls. I just like this one. It's so cute. And this one is also done with a double dragon. So I think this one's my favorite. So which one's your favorite? All right, you guys, there you go. Amaryllis 101. Super easy to do, super fun to decorate. I had to make these for the store, so I thought I'd do the video and show you how to do it too. That's all I've got for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you get some gardening done today, even if it's in a pot. I'm Michelle, and we'll catch you in the next video. Bye, everybody.